Hello everyone, we are back with Trust Mamombe from Zimbabwe. In the first video, he talked about the peace index and also about the positive peace. And I got very curious to understand how they push this agenda on government, because positive peace have all these amazing things that needs to be done to achieve peace, but I also puzzle like, so how does corrupted government do that? So how it's the case in Zimbabwe? How do you guys do that? What's the challenge? What does it work? Help us.
Thank you again, Diana. I think two things. Number one, you need to realize that it is indeed a very big challenge. It is a big challenge to bring different parties, opposition players in the political space, whether it's government and the opposition politicians and the various stakeholders into one table, because usually it's about finger pointing. And if you look at the way you framed it about saying you are the corrupt ones or these ones are the corrupt ones, exactly. That framing tends to exacerbate the polarization. So through the positive peace lens, what needs to be done is very simple. Number one, can everyone that wants peace in our society raise up their hand? Everyone will raise up their hand. It doesn't matter whether they're in government. It doesn't matter whether they are in opposition. It doesn't matter where they are, whether they are a gang leader, whether they are young people that are vulnerable out there. Everyone wants peace. So the moment you begin by putting peace on the table, I think that is a starting framework to bring people together. Because peace is not about pointing fingers. It's not about saying you were wrong. It's not about saying you were right. Exactly. It's about saying we want to coexist and to do business and to be patriots in our country and to love our nation and to bring about development in a peaceful society. So the starting premise is, who wants peace? Yeah. And everyone says they want peace. Now, when you bring everyone in the name of peace, no one is bound to resist. Yeah. But the moment you start pointing at the different facets and weaknesses, people come in, even if they come in with the shields, they're ready to defend themselves and stuff like that. So, like I said, positive peace is different pillars. For example, corruption is an important pillar of peace, or lowering levels of corruption. And everyone wants to lower the levels of corruption. And if we say we want to lower the levels of corruption so that we enhance peace, it's different from saying we want to lower levels of corruption as a political rhetoric that says, you are the most corrupt, so go away. I'm not less corrupt, so I should come into power. No. Yeah. We want to deal with corruption. Why? Because corruption takes away resources where they matter the most and puts them into hands of individuals. And that creates lack in different spheres. And when that happens, there's bound to be conflict. So everyone doesn't want that. Even the most corrupt person, if you mention peace, they will lift up their hand because they also want peace. Don't point at them as being corrupt, but you point to them as saying, if we work on lowering corruption, we are working on peace. Yes. So that's the important framework. In Zimbabwe, for example, end of 2015, we brought, quite historically, different players from across the political divide in Zimbabwe, the leadership from the opposition, the leadership from government. These people usually don't see eye to eye, yes. But we brought them under the auspices of peace.
How do they agree with it?
It was easy. Who doesn't want peace, Diana? Everyone wants peace. So it's not like we're talking about effective governance. Come here, we want to talk about governance. No. Come here, we want to talk about peace. Mm-hmm. But peace does not exist in a vacuum. Peace exists in all the facets of our societies. Yes. Like I've said, if you're working on lowering the levels of corruption, what are you working on? You're working on peace. If you're working on effective governance, at local level even, central government, and you're concerned about service delivery, you're working on peace. Yep. If you're working as a teacher, you are working on peace. If you're working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that our neighborliness is good, you're working on peace. So those factors are all important. So when you bring in people together, you bring them under the auspices of peace. Mm-hmm. You tell them, let's meet. Why do we want to meet? Not that we point fingers at each other, but so that we build peace. And I think this should be taken in what we will successfully call mainstreaming peace. Mm-hmm. The women went to Beijing some years back, and then now we talk about gender on everything. It's high time we begin to speak about peace on everything, mm-hmm. whether it's in our politics, whether it's in whatever facet you may think of. That is the best way we can bring different people, different parties, all stakeholders together because everyone wants peace.
And when you say you brought all the stakeholders together or different political parties, when you say we, who is we? Who is the institution or people?
Okay, with the support under an organization that I've been director for the past couple of years, which was the National Peace Trust in Zimbabwe, and supported by Institute for Economics and Peace and the Charitable Foundation, which brought in resources. We brought government, represented at the highest level. The Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe came together with senior ministers and senior government officials, including the Minister then of War Veterans and stuff like that. We brought the leadership of the opposition, the different opposition political parties. We brought, interestingly, and this was very interesting, the NGOs in Zimbabwe, and I'm sure in many places, are aligned either to government or to opposition. And we brought those together. We brought Nango, we brought Fongo, we brought all of them. We brought them because no one wanted to be left out in the name of peace. Because you wouldn't say, no, I'm not coming to that meeting because it's about peace. Oh, so you don't want peace. No, everyone wants peace. Yeah. So the moment you say we're going to talk about peace, everyone, it's a unifying force. And when everyone comes in, then you can say, do you know that government has a big role to play when it comes to peace? Do you know that NGOs have a big role when it comes to peace? Do you know that the media has an important role to play when it comes to peace? So everyone has a role to play in peace building, and that's the new peace builder, and that's the man we want.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what did you think was the results from that meeting? Did actually people went there, they talked about peace and about how to build things, but after it, did you have like real results, tangible things that were done or an agenda to accomplish?
Yes, I think the results were very phenomenal, Diana, very phenomenal. And unfortunately, when it comes to issues like positive peace or peace itself, it's difficult to measure peace. It's either there's violence or no violence. And then it's difficult to quantify now, but that is what I'm sure the IEP is also interested in. Quantifying the impact of our interventions in making sure that we avoid violence. In other words, if come next year, 2018, if we have a peaceful election, for example, in Zimbabwe, what will have caused that peaceful election? Unfortunately, people easily forget. They think peace exists in isolation. There is nothing like that. Peace is not an accident. It is invested in. People make investments so that there is peace. So we made investments, and we are sure our investments are going to go a long way. We have seen good rapport between certain government sectors and NGOs and opposition political parties. There's been talk, although we have not got there yet, but we're seeing bit by bit engagement, we're seeing dialogue, and those are important steps towards a peaceful society. But I think what needs to be marked, Diana, is that the investments that we make, we may not get time to say after 6 months or after 1 year, let's celebrate, because they are difficult to quantify and to measure. But we remain confident that with those full investments, we will get sustainable and durable peace.
That's amazing. So this was a very good example that things that is possible to do. It was done in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and I think the Brazilian government should seriously think about getting together and discussing peace in society, including different political parties and local NGOs and the media, because the media sometimes media can create a war. And it's very complicated to the general public to understand what's real truth, what's not. So I think it's very powerful when we can bring all the stakeholders together. And if they are willing to be there and willing to do something practical about it.
Everyone is an important player when it comes to peace. It's no longer for those that have done peace studies or peace management or peace NGOs. It's everyone. Everyone is a peace builder.
You are a peace builder, so do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Russ.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.